Before Amora owned a salon, she spent 4 long years as an apprentice under the famous stylist Madame Oluchi. Amora swept floors, washed hair, fetched water, and ran errands. But she was never allowed to handle real customers. Whenever she asked to practice, Madame Oluchi snapped, "You are not ready. You will spoil someone's hair." Meanwhile, other apprentices who joined later were already styling customers, earning weekend tips, and buying new clothes. Amora wished she could learn properly. She stayed silent, but inside she whispered to herself, "One day, I will become a real stylist." Her family life was not easy. Amora's mother sold roasted plantain by the roadside, and her younger brother had frequent health issues. Many nights they slept without enough food. Amora could not complain because she believed her time would eventually come. Then, one rainy season, Madame Oluchi fell sick and closed the salon for 2 months. She did not pay any apprentices and simply told them, "Wait until I return." Those 2 months broke Amora's spirit. One evening, she sat outside and cried quietly, wondering if she had wasted years of her life. A neighbor named Auntie Ngozi saw her sadness and said, "My dear, if you are waiting for someone to bless your life, you may wait forever. If you know you can do this work, start small." Those words sat in Amora's heart all night. The next week, she used her tiny savings to rent a small wooden shop. She scrubbed the dirty floors, cleaned the mirrors, borrowed a hairdryer, and bought basic hair products. The shop was tiny and poorly furnished, but it was hers. She made a handwritten sign, "Amora Beauty Corner," neat and affordable. Every morning she swept the floor, arranged her products, and waited with hope in her heart. In the first week, customers trickled in, mostly neighbors, old classmates, and church members. After styling a lady's hair gently, the woman smiled in the mirror and said, "Your hands are soft, I will come back." Another said, "This is beautiful, let me take a picture." Amora's heart swelled with pride. She felt her future finally opening. But 3 weeks passed, and no customer returned. She waited every day from morning to night, hoping to see familiar faces. Instead, she ran into them outside, at the market, bus stop, and church. They always smiled and said, "My hair is still neat, still fresh, it has not rough at all." They meant it as praise, but to her, it was a business failure. Customers loved her work so much that they didn't need her again soon. Amora began to worry. Her shop rent was counting. Products needed replacing. Her brother's medication was expensive. Her mother looked older every day. One evening she rested her head on her mirror table and whispered to herself, "Will talent be enough? What if this shop fails? What if I have nothing?" Suddenly, she remembered something Auntie Ngozi once said, though she had said it casually, "Repeat customers are the secret to survival." Amora repeated the phrase quietly, again and again, letting it sink into her heart. She began observing other salons in the area. Some were always full, even though their hairstyles were rough or tight. She overheard 2 stylists at a supply store. One bragged, "My customers always come back quickly." The other laughed and replied, "Because your braids don't last long." Amora walked away silently, but something sparked inside her. That night she sat with her mother, pretending everything was fine. Mama said, "Do not worry, God will help you." Amora forced a smile, but inside she wondered, what makes her age fast? She remembered a moment from her apprentice days. Madame Oluchi once tossed aside a jar of strong relaxer and said, "This can cause scalp irritation if not used properly." That memory stayed with Amora. She debated for days. Finally, after only one paying customer that week, she felt desperation climb into her chest. She went to the market and bought a jar of strong relaxer. She mixed a small amount into her hair cream and placed it in an unmarked container. She stared at it for a long time and whispered, "I'm just trying to survive." The next morning, her first customer came for braids. When Amora finished, She gently rubbed a small amount of the new cream on the scalp. "This will make it last and shine," she said. She did the same for the next 2 customers. At first, nothing happened. But after 3 days, one woman rushed in scratching her scalp. "Please help me, I can't sleep." Then another came crying. Then another. Amora comforted them with gentle concern, pretending to be confused. "Oh, some scalps are sensitive. Next time we will try something lighter." Within 3 weeks, her salon transformed from silent to busy. Women returned every 2 or 3 days, scratching, complaining, begging for help. They paid each time. Amora's income increased. She bought a new mirror and a fan, took more photos of her work and posted online. People started calling her the caring stylist because she always attended to them quickly. She even began selling soothing scalp oil, which was normal oil mixed with menthol. Customers felt momentary relief and trusted her more. Money began flowing. Mama received more support. Her brother's medication became consistent. Amora felt like success had finally arrived. But comfort created boldness, and boldness became greed. She thought, if a little relaxer makes them return, maybe more will work faster. She increased the dosage, just enough to cause irritation, but not enough to be obvious. Customers returned more frequently, sometimes after only 2 days. When one woman lost a small patch of hair, Amora calmly said, "Maybe you scratched too hard." One customer returned with red spots on her scalp. Another with small flakes of broken hair. Amora hid her growing worry behind warm smiles. She kept telling herself, "It's just business. I'm not harming them seriously. They will recover." But someone had started noticing, a quiet woman named Lenny. She didn't shout or complain. She simply said, "My scalp is itching. Can you check?" But as Amora touched her scalp, Lenny washed her hands like a detective. Later, Lenny visited her friend Ada and shared her suspicion. Ada's eyes widened and she said, "The same thing happened to me." That was when Lenny knew it wasn't random. She didn't confront Amora immediately. Instead, she told Ada, "Let's go back, but this time I'm watching closely." Ada pretended she was a first-time customer, while Lenny sat quietly as if waiting for her. Amora welcomed them warmly and braided Ada's hair skillfully. After finishing, she stepped to her drawer and took out the unmarked container. At that moment, Lenny stood up firmly and said, "Stop. What is inside that cream?" The entire salon went silent. Amora's hand froze. Her smile weakened. "It's just normal hair cream," she said. Lenny stepped closer. "Really? Then why is it not labeled? And why don't you use it on your own hair?" Ada gasped and said, "So this is what you used on me last time." 2 waiting customers entered, curious about the argument. One shouted, "Let us smell it." Another yelled, "If it is safe, apply it on yourself." Amora clutched the container tightly, her breath shaking. Finally, her voice broke. I am sorry. I didn't mean to harm anyone." The salon erupted into chaos. Some cried. Some shouted. Some threatened. Outside, someone yelled, "Call the police." A crowd gathered quickly. Officers arrived and took Amora away. At the station, she sat with swollen eyes and trembling hands. The officer asked her to explain from the beginning. Amora told everything, about Madame Oluchi, about financial struggle, about customers not returning, about the relaxer mixture. The officer listened quietly and finally said, "You wanted success, but you chose a wrong path. Good business is built on trust, not manipulation." Later that evening, Amora's mother arrived, crying. "My daughter, why didn't you tell me? We could have found another way." Amora wept, wishing she could undo everything. The next day, Auntie Nosy, the same woman who once advised her, walked into the station. Amara rushed to her and said through tears, "You told me repeat customers are the secret. I was only trying to survive." Auntie Ngozi looked at her with tired eyes and replied, "Yes, by kindness, honesty, and trust. I never meant hurting them." Community elders mediated. Victims agreed to settle out of court if Amara paid treatment costs and apologized publicly. After paperwork, Amara was released, but her reputation was shattered. When she returned to her shop, she lifted the signboard and removed it herself. She sat on the floor staring at the mirror. The person she once dreamed of becoming felt far away. For a week she kept the shop closed, cleaning, thinking, praying. Finally, she threw away all unmarked containers. She bought fresh, safe products. She wrote a note and placed it in her drawer, "No shortcuts again. If it takes time, I will still wait." When she opened her shop quietly, people passed by whispering. Some looked at her with judgment, some with disappointment. But eventually one woman entered and said softly, "Everyone deserves another chance. Please, make my hair." Amora's eyes watered as she whispered, "Thank you." She braided gently, honestly. No chemicals. No tricks. Just pure skill. Slowly, some old customers returned, not many, but they trusted her again. Amora learned that real growth might begin slowly, but it grows firmly. The new Amora said to herself, "Slow success with peace is better than fast success with shame." And so her business rebuilt, not through pain, but through trust.